Hello and welcome back. Sean here, Mountains Garage. This week, I've been puttering around a little bit on the 64 Dodge Dart GT Turbo LS Powerglide 9-inch Ford project, trying to get the wheels and tires to fit inside the wheel well. I'm trying to run a 275/60 tire in the stock wheel well. It hasn't been mini tubbed or anything. The old way to do it was to just jack the car up and have the car sitting on top of the tires. I want the tire up inside the car. It looks better, works better, is better. I wasn't going to quit until I achieved that. The 9-inch Ford was a ½ inch narrower than the 8 3/4 I took out. Not quite enough to make the wheels that I have work. I have a set of steel wheels that are 4.5 backspace, and I have a set of weld Super Lights, I believe they're called. Same 15x8, 4.5 backspace. They have the 275 drag radial, so at least I have an impression of what the size would be. And I've had a set of 275/60 street tires kicking around here for 10 years or more. So the following is the trials and tribulations of trying to get that to work. Ultimately, I spent money. Not much, but enough to, say I spent money to solve the problem. But I couldn't leave it the way it was, almost fitting. You know it's going to rub. If you had anybody riding with it, it's only going to make it worse. Put 2 kegs of beer in the trunk. Whatever you're going to do. It's got a huge trunk. Sorry about that. It's my high-tech 15-inch wheel offset measuring device, also known as a piece of aluminum flat bar and a tape measure. So go ahead and watch, and I'll catch you at the end. I put the Dart back on the ground. I love the way the tires are tucked up into the wheel well. It's a good look. It sits almost level. Still listing to the driver's side just a tiny bit. However, with this combination of wheel, which I need to remeasure, I think it's a 4.5 backspace, 8-inch wide rim, I run out of room up here. We're touching right here. So I have one other set of wheels I'm going to try, and then I need to decide what to do next. Whatever wheel I run, they're going to be black, but I do like the way they're tucked up in there. It's hard with the phone in the garage, but it still has a nice downward rake, even though the rear's a lot lower than it was. I'm not quite at full weight, but pretty much there. The front end height is adjustable anyway with the torsion bars. I dragged in the steel wheels that I have. They're also 15x8, 4.5 backspace with a 275/60 15 street tire. The aluminum wheels leaning on the door, same dimension on the wheel, and a 275/60 drag radial. So the street tire is slightly smaller. Almost fits, but still, almost is not going to cut it. Options at this point: buy wheels with 5.5-inch backspace. That would solve the issue. Build another rear end, 1 inch narrower. Doable, but kind of want to use this one. Or remove the 1 inch lowering blocks. So I think I have enough thread on the U-bolts just to try it anyway. So that's my next step while I'm messing around today in the rain. So I'll take the block out and see what it looks like. I had just enough thread for mock-up and set it on the ground. And I still have a tire clearance problem. I went ahead and trimmed out the extra lip that was just folded up underneath around the wheel well on both sides. And they now technically clear. The street tires do. But it doesn't solve my issue because I want to be able to fit a 275 tire before I go ahead and commit to this rear end and weld the pads on, the perches on. I want to make sure I can run a tire that I could race with if we get to that point, which we probably will. So while I was ordering U-bolts, if you don't want to pay shipping, you got to buy more stuff. So I bought a cheap set of rear wheels that are 5.5 offset instead of these 4.5, which should make good use of that space I got right there. I hope I'm not too close to the inside, but we're going to find out shortly because I ordered them Tuesday night. And I think they're out for delivery today. So stay tuned. You will see in a few minutes whether it was a good move or not. I'm not sure I ever showed the drive shaft installed either, but it fit perfect. I still haven't set my pinning angle yet. It's close, but I'm waiting till I absolutely position everything. I did find the original Mopar brake line that was longer than the Nova brake line that I had, so I swapped it out so I get a little more travel without the hose getting tight. It's actually 2 days later. It's Friday. Welcome to Friday. And to recap, I haven't watched all the little video clips, but the car's going to have black wheels. I like the look. It's good. The question was whether I was going to buy front steelies, because these are 5 on 4 inch and they go away when I swap the disc brakes. So I'll need a 5 on 4.5 wheel. The rear steelies I have, they're GM Rally wheels, and I kind of have them fitting, but not good enough because I want to run this combination. I want to be able to race with a 275 drag radial or something of that size. I have these Weld, I believe they're Weld Alumilites, I forget what they were called at the time. Still an expensive wheel. They're about $450 a piece. I did not research whether I could get these in the correct offset because that's out of budget for this car. We're going cheap. And I was going to paint these wheels anyway. They've been well used in the middle. And what I haven't mentioned is I have 4 front wheels, 15 by 4, multiple bolt pattern, in this style out in the shed. So I'm going to paint 2 of those black. Actually, 2 of them have decent tires and everything, I believe. And they bought 2 of these little problem solvers. I caught them on sale. I think they were $127 a piece. It's actually a really nice looking wheel. I should be able to paint the welds to match on the front with some Rust-Oleum. I've used my super high-tech offset measuring device and a tape measure. You get the idea. I did the front and back just to see what the difference is. It looks like I'm going to gain a strong 3/4 of an inch in the direction I need to go, away from the lip. I believe that's positive offset in a wheel. In all other aspects like front end alignment, that would be negative offset. But in a front end alignment, positive means coming towards you if you're standing outside the wheel. Or if you're sitting in the driver's seat, that'd be positive caster. But in wheel technology, and actually a few videos ago, I believe I said it backwards, but if this had a lot of offset this direction, that would be negative offset. That definitely doesn't roll off my tongue. I've done way more alignments than wheel measuring. I'm installing bolt-in valve stems. That's the fastest way to get bounced out of tech. The rubber ones just are not fit for the job. You can break them off just washing the car. So these are cheap money. Every auto parts store on the land has them. I like that these take a conical lug nut. It's gonna be kind of tight, probably getting the socket in, but I believe the ones I chose are gonna work just fine. So I'm going to demount these 275 tires that I bought the summer I got married in 2011, and they've never been used. They've never left the garage. And yes, I'm going to run them. There'll be lots of testing and burnouts and stuff, so moving burnouts. I don't do stationary burnouts unless it's just to get the wheels turning so you can power forward. Anyway, so I'm going to knock these off the steel wheels. I much prefer lifting up the aluminum wheels and tires than I do the steel ones. It's quite a weight difference. In fact, I should weigh that. And I sold my FMC tire machine. It was equivalent of a Coates 4040, I believe, the traditional tire machine where I had adapters to do 14-inch rims and everything else. Mostly because my wife bought a 2016 Camry that has 18-inch wheels. I personally don't recognize wheels larger than 16-inch. I won't have them in the garage, but when you get a new car, that's what you get. Tiny sidewall. And I mounted up her snow tires the first year with my traditional machine and decided I should probably pick up a used rim clamp. This thing works fine. I mounted up a whole bunch of other stuff, and then this fall when I went to mount her snow tires, the first thing I did is break off one of the tire pressure sensors. Oh well, what are you going to do? But it works good for what we're doing today. It was my error, not the machine's, but just the way it goes. When these are listed for sale, they usually don't stick around very long. This happened to be a buddy of mine that I knew from racing, and I shot down and got it about a year ago. The steel wheel and 275 tire, 61.2 pounds. Dang. Aluminum jegs wheel and 275 tire, 51 pounds. And just to be thorough, the weld wheel with the 275 drag radial, 41 pounds. Well, the wheels solved the problem. I have tons of tire clearance. In fact, I could put the lowering block back in if I wanted to. But I probably won't. It's a pretty good look now. As far as fitment goes, got tons of room. It came with center caps. I don't know if I'll just paint the center black so it's not as noticeable, or take the label off the cap and use it. I still have to take them off and balance them. Today it was just all about trial fitment. I have to tear it all back apart at least one more time anyway, so. But I miss the dish. I like the look of the dish wheel. This has never been a favorite of mine, but I guess I'm just being too picky. It's supposed to be a beater, and I've still tucked a 275 60 tire in a stock wheel well. With these wheels, the stock 8 3/4 that was a 1/2 inch wider would actually be a better fit now. I could stand to be out toward the fender lip more and less to the inside. I have clearance, but it's not totally centered. A 1/2 inch would make it perfect. But we're not going to worry about that. I was just adjusting the front torsion bars to see if I could get it to sit level. And you would not believe, I'm not a Mopar guy, never had a torsion bar front end. What a 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn does. A full turn will make the car droop to one side or the other. More sensitive than I thought they would be, but it didn't take a whole lot to make it sit level. When I finally get the battery in the right rear and the trunk and everything else, I can do final adjustments. It's good to know that it's that easy. And it doesn't look stupid anymore, leaning to one side. I almost wonder if I could have leveled it out. Actually, no, I remember I tried that. I tried to level it out with no engine in it and transmission, with the torsion bars, with the super stock spring in the right rear. If you haven't been following along, I now have 2 left springs installed in the rear, instead of their mismatched, which is what the super stock springs did with the right rear, was much more arched. And if you've watched the last few videos and wondered what these 3 boxes were, it's my front disc brake kit. I'm not much of an unboxing guy, but I have to show you how it's packaged. The top small box is the 2 upper control arms with new ball joints, and the 2 lower ball joints, which is the whole steering arm and everything. All part of the conversion, I guess. The 2 large boxes marked right and left is the entire assembly, spindle and all. Every other disc brake kit I've ever got, they just give you lots of parts thrown in a box. These are completely assembled. I'll probably, no doubt, take it apart and make sure it's greased and everything, but that is pretty cool. All that will be left of the stock front suspension is the lower control arm, and I bought a new bushing for that. It has a bushing, so I'll need to knocked the torsion bar out and fixed that up, and I bought all new steering linkage. I don't even think this linkage is bad, but I could get everything but the idler arm through Rock Auto for each piece is $2 or $3 a piece. The only expensive part was shipping. But $2 or $3 for a inner and outer tie rod end and the sleeve each, that's not bad. That's the part number of the disc brake kit. I got it from Classic Industries right after Thanksgiving, Cyber Monday. I believe it was just under $600. All the other disc brake kits I saw were $1,100 and up, and they didn't give me new control arms and everything. I'm still getting used to my rim clamp machine. The last place I worked, the big municipality, we had just bought a Hunter rim clamp with every accessory there was, and everybody hated it. And they all told me that the other style, the simplistic rim clamp like I have, was a dream to run. I worked 28 years there. Rim clamp machines came out while I worked there. And like when I was a police mechanic, I mounted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tires on the old Coates 4040. I believe that's the model. I love that machine. I was used to it. I could make it do what I wanted to do. Using the rim clamp is new to me. So it has plastic rim protectors. I only have 3 of them, and they work if you grab the rim from the outside in, but grabbing from the inside out, which is what I typically do, it has little teeth that bite into the rim. So like a genius off camera, I wrapped those with tape because my steel wheels that I was demounting are powder coated. I didn't want to scratch them up. So I wrapped them up with some masking tape, put the wheel on there. I'm halfway around popping the tire off the bead, and that wheel, not being gripped with the tape on there, popped off there, scratched the hell out of the rim. Typical. The next one, I just let it bite in and it was fine. It hardly even hurts it. The new rims, you can't even tell where it grabbed it. It's on the inside. Perfect case of trying not to destroy something and destroying it anyway in spite of yourself. So, hey, thanks for watching. And I'll catch you in a couple days. We got lots of things to do. I got 3 small block Chevys I got to put together. I've been saying that for over a year. I'm tired of the parts sitting around. I keep peeking at the 2 that belong to me. One is machined, the other I paid to have machined. One of these days I'm going to look in and it's going to be rusty. So I've oiled it a couple times, but I'm definitely tempting fate, and I don't want that to happen. So one is a 377. I bought all the pieces from my brother, all brand new, other than the block. And the other is a 421 that another block my brother gave me, a 4-bolt 400 block. The 421 rotating assembly, I believe it's an Eagle. I bought it used, but barely used. The guy actually built a cheater engine. It's a pretty big cheater engine for a stock car, and got caught with it the first weekend. So he took it back apart, and I got all the parts. And yeah, so that should be interesting. I don't know how much of that I'm going to film or anybody wants to see. I guess the highlights, of assembling an engine. Everybody has their own way to do it. I like to do it the easiest and most efficient and best way possible. Easy's not always you know what I mean. Doing it right is not the easy way. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So stay tuned. That and many other projects. Spring is here almost. Hope you have a great weekend.